Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Greetings, beloved beings of light. Hope you're having a most beautiful, blessed day. I'm going to do something a little different here today. Talk about some things that many of our people are following as far as our divine dispensations and the quantum financial system. Many of our people are involved in the shift of what I call the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. So we're going to talk about these things. Some of these things are very controversial, so I don't speak of them too often, and they can get me in a little bit of trouble here on YouTube. But things are shifting, and a lot of people are giving us information, sending us information on this great transfer of wealth. So we are going through a great shift, as you know. This is a spiritual shift, metaphysical, multidimensional. So we're going to talk about a few things here of this great transfer of wealth, from the hands of the nefarious ones, from the the slave masters of the Babylonian debt slavery into the hands of our people. And this is for our divine sovereignty. This is our divine dispensation, and for our humanitarian projects. So we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to read something here from our bro Thor of the Light, Indian in the Machine. He released a video which was shared with me today, which some of the things that I'll be talking about, some of the things I've researched over the years, and a lot of information, a lot of our connections through the field. You see this shift that's happening. Obviously, it's spiritual, it's mental, the mind, the shifting of the mind, the shifting of consciousness. It's spiritual, multidimensional, so it's very complex and convoluted. I know there's a lot of naysayers out there and people fear-mongering about things, everything from extraterrestrials to the quantum financial system. These things get a lot of attention. They get a lot of views. People make a lot of money. I could do the same thing. I know all these things that would get millions of views, but with my integrity, I put out information that with my heart, I feel is true, and then the knowledge I give to all you is to point to the truth, teaching you all that a truth is beyond words, beyond concepts, and all these concepts point to the truth. So that's the difference between what is true and the truth. What is true changes. Today it might be true, tomorrow false. Today the earth's flat, tomorrow it's round. We have a saying in Zen Buddhism, only don't know. People ask me, what do you think, the world flat around? I say, I don't know. I've never been to outer space. How can I say? I've seen both sides. Both sides have valid points. This side says this one's stupid for believing round. This one stupid for believing it's flat. It's another system to keep people in debate, to keep people separated. This is part of the separation program. It's all nonsense. It's all part of the simulation, the matrix. We live in a paradox. The brilliant minds will say, is the world flat around? Yes, or only don't know. Why, yes, because you look at it this way, from this perspective, it's flat. From that perspective, it's round. But the paradox is we're all right and all wrong at the same time. It's a very crazy concept. The mind can't accept that much of the time. So, this is all part of the acceptance of realizing we don't know. We don't know most things. What we do know is this much. The truth is infinite. So we say which true changes. Today, the tree has leaves. That's true. But you come tomorrow, the leaves gone. They say, oh, you lied. Now the tree doesn't have leaves. It's like, I didn't say it was the truth. The truth is that's a tree. The tree is always a tree. Sometimes it has leaves. Sometimes it doesn't. That's why the truth never changes. That's how you know the truth. And, what is true and false, because people say, oh, this false thing is the truth, or that true thing is the truth. Neither is true or false. It's very complicated. That's why I don't spend a lot of time focusing on that, because it's just another rabbit hole. So we resolve it by saying, only don't know. It's what the Zen master, I don't know, it's our life after death. I don't know. I know I'm breathing right now. That's what I can tell you is true. I believe that there's life after death, but I can't prove it to you. I can prove I'm breathing by taking a breath. See, it's true, but now I hold my breath. You're not breathing. It's just nonsense. People want to debate about all these things that are nonsensical. So let's talk a moment here, because a lot of people are waiting for this great shift, a lot of this event. So we say, obviously, the event is an event of consciousness. We say the quantum leap of consciousness, but there's things tangibly that our people need, these healing systems, this financial system. So I can't stress this enough. Why we came, our mission, I talk a lot about this planetary liberation. This is freedom for all sentient beings. And we have to do this to free humanity from these slavery systems. One of the biggest slavery systems is what we call the Babylonian debt slavery system. This was created by nefarious beings to keep people enslaved and to keep these currencies flowing. So part of the shift, part of this physical shift in this 3D reality to free our people, to free people from suffering. We have the many slavery systems, from the financial slavery system to the governmental, these governments keeping people taxed, and which leads back to the financial system, putting people in prison for crimes they did not commit, or nonsense crimes. Whether it was a crime today, now it's legal. A crime yesterday, now it's legal today. So, there's people that sat in prison for many years for a crime that was nonsense. Now it's legal, But you have this pharmaceutical system, the health systems, keeping people sick, all these things. So I have to be careful what I say. Now I'm probably gonna have to release this on another platform than YouTube, because I'll get a community strike for some of the things that I'm about to say. So we'll see. We'll see about maybe putting a clip out and then putting this on Rumble, where I don't get many views. So today, the 18th, a lot of information's coming out that, tomorrow, the 19th, the quantum financial system, the QFS, will be up and running, to free humanity, to shift the wealth. This is all backed by gold and silver. Now, many people come to me and say, how much gold and silver is in the world? Now, we're talking about hundreds of years. We have the BRICS organization, BRICS. BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. This is an alliance. Now, my connections are with the Dragon Elders of the East. I trained with several Dragon Masters over the last 33 years, starting at 17 years old. I'm now been in this matrix for 50 years, I've trained and taught over 33 years. So that's one aspect. That's the spiritual aspect. I train with Zen masters of the East, from Japan, the Chan master, from China, the Taoist master from China, the Hindu masters from India, and around the world. I've trained with many masters, several rainbow body masters, through the Kunlun lineage. Ching Feng Dao Shi is a dragon master of the Kunlun lineage, and his divine counterpart, Diana Dao Shi. Da Shi and Da Shi is woman of the Tao, man of the Tao. The Tao in Chinese translated to English is the way. The way where? The way in, the way into the kingdom of heaven within. But the way is nature, the cosmos, cosmic energy. It's nature. So we have this concept of GESARA, NESARA. NESARA is the North America, United States, freedom from the debt slavery system. GESARA is global. All countries are part of this, and part of this is BRICS. The BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now, the Chinese, if you look at the history of China, they've been hoarding, collecting gold and silver for the last 300 years since the Opium Wars, and even before that. So what they put out on the internet is that, there's this limited supply. Obviously, there's some kind of limitation, but what they tell you, there's like a Olympic-sized pool full of gold. That's total nonsense. These gold and silver, these precious metals go back, couple thousand years to King Solomon time. That these have been collected. It doesn't disappear. We've mined gold. Look at what the conquistadors of Spain, look at the Vatican. The conquistadors, there's stories of them loading ships full of gold and silver, but over 800 years, what was that, 800 years ago or so now? You can look it up. This is the Spanish conquistadors. They brought it over to Spain, and Spain into the Vatican, the Roman Empire hoarding gold and silver. You have China that last 300 years, just the British ran out of silver. That's what the Opium Wars were about. They fought over, their currency, which was tea, in China, tea, cha ching, tea, ching of something great value, so their currency for hundreds and hundreds of years, one of their currency is tea. Obviously, they eventually came out with money currency, the yuan, so part of this shift, these currency, the RV, the revaluation of currency because of the ways of the West going into these countries, especially the third world countries, bankrupting them, and their currency going to almost no value. We've seen this many times, at least 100 times over the last 200 years. You can read John Perkins' book, Confessions of an Economic Hitman. He was part of, the government going into these third world countries and getting them so deep in debt that we would then control them. And also wars. Wars caused, the German mark after World War I wasn't even worth a penny. It's like the Iraqi dinar. The dinar before, the Desert Storm, the war we went in there, that false fake war that was also funded. All wars, we must realize, both sides are always funded by the same people. You can follow that rabbit hole down forever. So before the Desert Storm, Saddam Hussein thing, the Iraqi dinar was about 1-to-1. I think it had a higher value than the American dollar. We went in there, and after the war, it went down. It wasn't even worth a penny. German mark after World War I wasn't worth a penny. There's stories of, people dumping out wheelbarrows full of German marks because a wheelbarrow was worth more than the whole thing full of the German currency. So we see this through different countries. So the big ones that we're seeing, the Iraqi dinar that a lot of people talk about, because they were one of the world's largest oil producers. It's nonsense that their currency has zero value when they bring a lot of commerce to the world. We have the Vietnam Dong. The Dong before the Vietnam War had a much higher value, and these wars just decimate the value of that country's currency. The Zim, we're hearing a lot about this now. The Zim's a little bit different because it's more like a bond. It's more like a certificate than currency. It was a currency, but the Earth Alliance, the White Hats, now use that. It will be used as like a bond for humanitarian finances. So let's get back real quick. How much gold and silver is in this world? More than you can imagine. Thousands and thousands, if not millions of tons of gold and silver. It's kept in vaults that no one even knows about. Again, the British ran out of silver 300 years ago, so they had to find something else. See, the British fell in love with the tea, the Chinese tea. This is, many wars have been fought over tea. Tea is a very powerful commodity. People don't know this. Multi-billion-dollar industry. And so the emperor, the British ran out of silver, so the Chinese said, what else do you all have? Well, we have this fabric. Well, we have silk. We have these spices. We got every spice, everything the British. So they realized that the Chinese people loved opium, So this whole, the Silk Road and, Ho Chi Minh Trail, I have friends that fought in the many friends, many veterans of the military over the years, especially Vietnam veterans. I have many very close friends from Vietnam War that fought in that war. And they all told me it was all about opium, It's all about the opiates because it come out of the Middle East. Afghanistan is the portal where, most of the opium was raised, the opiates from the poppy, that grew in Afghanistan. That's why wars have been fought over this area for hundreds of years, they always the West and the East, wanting to control this area that's the Middle East, in between the West and the East. So that's right in the hub. So this Silk Road, the Marco Polo going in there, a lot of that was for trade, but also importing, exporting the opiates, so the emperor realized their society, it's 300 years ago, was on this downward decline. So they made it illegal. The emperor made opium illegal in China. So the British were like, forget that. They went to war. There's two major, they call opium wars, but it was really fought over tea. They don't want people to know, how stupid these things are. So the emperor made opium illegal. The British went in there and they had the most powerful military, at that time. And they conquered the seas, and they had weapons that were beyond what China, so they decimated and, took over. They occupied China for many years, but China always was holding gold and silver. Brazil also, from the Inca and the Mayan empires had lots of gold. There's stories that these temples were covered in gold. Ancient Egypt, these gold tombs, and some people even believe that the Great Pyramids may have been covered in gold. There's some evidence of that, but China, Russia, this was part, this whole Eastern was part of the Mongolian Empire. The Mongolian Empire was the largest contiguous, connected land empire in the history of the world. The British, the largest non-contiguous empire. And this was, this little island, but they occupied many countries and took them over and controlled them for many years. If you study history, you'll know these things. But these countries, Russia was part of Mongolia at one time. The Mongolians had vast amounts of wealth, infinite wealth. That's how they funded all their wars and stuff and built their empire. It's like the Chinese, the Chinese, very wealthy, have thousands and thousands of tons of gold, more than you can imagine. And the Dragon Elders talk about this, and this is just part of, this experience in this 3D reality, because we know that gold and silver has always held value. I taught this for several years when I used to sell gold and silver bullion, teach people the value of this asset, that it's always held value. You can go back 2,000 years, it's gold and silver. It's not considered an investment. It's a, hedge against the dollar. When dollars plummet, there's stories after World War I, you could buy a whole city block for 1 ounce of gold in Germany. That's how decimated their currency was. So part of this RV revaluing currency is part of this GESARA, NESARA. You have the QFS, the quantum financial system. I know there's a lot of naysayers and people, it's going to enslave humanity. Humanity's already enslaved. This is white hat production. This is the Earth Alliance bringing the quantum financial system to the world. And tomorrow, the 19th, it's being put out that all banks have to become solvent. They have to be compliant with what they call Basel III, which is they have to have so many reserve of the currency that they can lend out, and also full implementation compliance with what is called ISO 2022. And this is 222 code of the angelic realm. So this, of course, is multidimensional. Now, what I'm going to read here from Indian and Machine, about GESARA is coming soon to all humanity. The QFS system is up and running, the quantum financial system. This is from Saint Germain. So I have spoken in the past with some of the people working with the Saint Germain Trust. Some of you that follow my YouTube channel, Paul White Gold Eagle. I was on a radio show with M and Miss M out of Sedona several years back, discussing many things, but they were working with the Saint Germain Trust. You know, these are part of the quantum financial system. Now, I've also been told from people inside that are connected with these groups that are creating the QFS that the XRP crypto is going to be. This is a benevolent crypto now. Bitcoin, malevolent. This is mafia run. Mafia owns most of that. So Bitcoin, we potentially could see be taken out after the quantum financial system is fully up and running and released publicly. Now, this is still going on in the background, so we're hearing whispers through the networks coming through about this information about the quantum financial system and GESARA. So I've been told to, a couple of countries have released GESARA as of the last couple of days. November 18th is today, 2023, tomorrow 19th. It's being put out publicly through certain channels that all banks have to be compliant with ISO 20022 and Basel III. So this is going to be part of the shift, the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of the world. So all currencies will be revalued to where all currencies are one-to-one. They all have equal value. You know what I'm saying? You know, the American dollar will no longer be used as a reserve currency. So the power of financially is going to be taken away from huge nefarious entities through the West, you know, and the Dragon Elders, part of their mission is that aspect, freeing humanity from the Babylonian debt slavery system out of Babylon, you know, which was the Middle East, but the West took over that tradition to keep humanity enslaved for the last hundreds and hundreds of years, you know, through these systems of debt, you know, getting people and, you know, groups and governments into deep debt. You know, again, John Perkins, Confessions of an Economic Hitman, he exposed that years ago. You know, he had an awakening. He was part of that system that was going in and convincing these countries to put millions and billions of dollars into infrastructure that, and, you know, these entities, you know, so we have these families of 12 that, you know, 13 families or whatever, Illuminati, Rothschilds, Rockefellers, all these beings that, you know, have infinite wealth that keep, you know, the population enslaved through these nefarious systems. So the quantum financial system is to free humanity consciously and physically from these systems and to bring great wealth to benevolent beings. The universe itself is benevolent. God is benevolent. So this is the return of the Christ consciousness, the Christos Sophia, which is divine union of Heros Gamos, internal, external. See, my queen and I, we're holding the codes of the divine union, of the divine masculine, divine feminine coming together, the yin and the yang. So that's part of freeing humanity from these mind porn systems, you know, these breaking up of families, you know, this great cause of suffering by, you know, greed and, you know, these desires that are out of control and addictive ways, you know, through these pornographic industries and these systems breaking families apart, you know, causing strife and conflict in relationships and families and marriages, all these things. And they do say that the number one cause of stress is financial. It's the number one cause of divorce, you know, is people suffering and struggling, and it causes so much stress that it causes conflict in relationships. So that's just one aspect, the many aspects of this nefarious system. So I'm going to read real quick. I'll talk about a few more things, wrap this up in a few minutes, but I want to read this to you from theyellowray.com from Indian in the Machine. GESARA is coming soon to all of humanity. The QFS system up and running, says Saint Germain. This is from Antuak, update on GESARA. Greetings, beloved. I am Antuak, aka Saint Germain. And this afternoon I wanted to pass by to greet you, always present in my heart. I wanted to give you some information regarding the GESARA project. As many may have known, this plan is starting to come to fruition. This GESARA plan is beginning to bear its first fruits, and soon this redemption. So this is divine redemption. Now, you can follow Dave, XRP Dave, Lion Dave on Twitter. He's connected with people with the redemption centers, which these are supposed to be released soon, to redeem your currencies if you're holding ZIM, a ZIM certificate, and you only need one for these humanitarian projects and to free you and your family from these debt slavery systems. There's going to be a huge debt jubilee, which means all debt is going to be wiped clean because it's all fake. It's all a scam. All these debt systems loaning you money that doesn't even exist and then charging you interest on that money. That's called usury. That's illegal. And these nefarious entities have been doing illegal activities. As you all know, I call these mafias of the world. Mafia, organized criminals. These are organized crime. They monetize everything that causes human suffering, from human trafficking to gambling to drugs to alcohol, pornography, you name it, gambling. We all know the mafia owns Las Vegas. That's a story for another day. So this GESARA plan is beginning to bear its first fruits, and soon this redemption, which Father, Mother has prepared for their children, will soon manifest in all beings of light. Also, this is connected to the med beds. Sky Prince, she put out a video the other day about how information's coming to her that there's people already using these med beds now. Two things: the med beds are going to be free, and you can't sign up for it right now. They're choosing, the Earth Alliance is choosing who gets to use them, and what's being told, the information coming out, that they should be available to the public by January 1st, 2024, by the end of this year, by Christmas. But we don't know. These timelines keep shifting, keep changing. So hopefully we keep the faith that our people that are sick and in a lot of pain that need these med beds, they'll be released very soon in the next couple months. So let's keep holding the line, keep the faith alive, stay in the heart. Gotta stop this, running out of time. I'll be right back. Okay, so we the redemption centers will be to redeem. Now we're being told, no one really knows the whole picture. We're getting bits and pieces from different sources, but you'll be able to take currency into a bank. So you have any of the currencies, the dong, Vietnam dong, the Iraqi dinar, many currencies, the peso. We all know the peso has had no value for many years. Since I was a kid, I was in Mexico as a child, 11 years old, and I remember, their dollar was like a penny, which was part of the destroying of their currency and economy and caused great stuff. Look at the cartels took over. Cartels are the Mexican mafia, so great suffering makes people do insane things. This is going to free. This freedom is for people to heal their hearts, heal their minds, heal their body. So the med beds should be released soon with this redemption. This is divine redemption, to be redeemed, to be healed, to be saved. Saved from these slavery systems. Okay, let's get back to it. Remember, first we were prepping the whole rig. We were prepping and tuning all systems. We were preparing for no undue diversion of prosperity funds to take place. Those entities that have already withdrawn from the project by not complying with the requirements. This is all coming together. This is all solidifying. Everything is already, as you would say, almost candy. Also contributions to projects that many light beings have. Being for Father, Mother, Adonai's service, all these funds are already being channeled. All this money is already there. But understand it, my beloved, that the main issue is, as long as there was no full and absolute certainty that all those funds were going to flow adequately, honestly, among the entire population, these resources were not going to be given. But everything is being clarified. The main thing is that the QFS system is already up and running. You, all the children of Father and Mother, keep in mind that you will have full and total assistance. Interlocutors have already said it. At this moment that we know how the planet is, how the energy is, that everything is quite accelerated. This project also promises to accelerate in the last moment so that abundance reaches all children. See, this is for all our good people of the new earth. This quantum financial system, it is multidimensional, it is quantum, and it is for the benevolence of all of humanity, not just for the select few, that 1%, those 13 families that control most of the monetary system. Let's see. And be confident, everyone, because to all children this blessing and this redemption of the GESARA project will come for this new humanity rising, for the Christian humanity, those living in Christ consciousness from their hearts and love and truth, so that they may enjoy the wonders and the great projects that Father Mother has for their children. This is generational wealth to protect, to feed, to clothe. There's no reason for homelessness. There is no reason for hunger. There is no reason for starvation and dying of dehydration. Water is a big problem. Water is one of the most abundant resources on the planet, but that's controlled and manipulated. Many people, millions of people die a year from dehydration and dirty water, from bacterias and parasites and all these things, which is nonsense. We have technologies that can desalinate water, that can clean water, that all these things, it's total nonsense. But because of the few control the many, but our people are rising up, people are awakening all over this world. This is the great awakening. This is victory to the light. I say to you, my beloved, do not worry about anything. As Master Sananda said, what you will eat, what you will drink, what you will wear. Be full of confidence, because all these things come to all the children of the light. So I wanted to also put out there, if you don't have any investments in, say, these currencies or, digital currencies or physical currencies, do not worry. Everything that you're going to need is going to be taken care of. Now, the people that hold these currencies, they will be the way showers, the leaders of these humanitarian projects. So if you so choose, you can work directly with people on whatever you're passionate about, to serve humanity, to serve the planet, to serve Gaia. Keep your heart open, your mind open, and your love of service, your love of sharing, loved, full, and absolute trusted. GESARA is coming for all. The projects especially that you, Emmanuel, and Pastora reach also all these resources to be used, either before or after the big transmutation project that will take place on the planet. All these resources, even though the money will not be handled, but all this will come accessible so that you can carry out all these projects. You'll see how everything will come to you and everything will go ahead. Beloved, I bless you. I am Master Antuak, Emmanuel e Pastora. And from Commander Ishtar Ashtara, Sananda's with us. Many of our higher dimensional beings, the angelic realm, the ascended master, Saint Germain, So from Indian in the Machine, this is a sensitive issue in the sense that we have to bring prosperity to all of Earth without using that money to destroy ourselves or to control others. How will this be done? I do not know, but it feels like we are in great hands after some discouraging turbulence. So many people, many of us have been, waiting for many years, for this transformation to happen. We don't wait. We live from our hearts, living the best life that we can with what we have and being grateful. Gratitude is the key to abundance. Being grateful for our people, for our relationships, our divine counterparts, the roof over our head, but all this has to shift because, this control, corporations such as BlackRock buying up all these homes to make it almost impossible for myself, my family, and our people to even own a home. It's not that we need ownership, but what we're paying for rent for this little apartment here is criminal. It's insane. It's twice what most people's mortgage is. But if you got in, unless if you got in the last couple years, but you go back 10 years, it's like what a mortgage was half of what most of us are paying for rent today. So it's insane, because these big corporations like BlackRock, Vanguard, Blackstone, Zillow, all these huge corporations, BlackRock, you got this rat fink that's, causing many problems, buying up all these homes to rent out. After the 2008 crash, we know that these corporations went in and got all these homes that, were foreclosed upon by these banks because of the fake monetary system that these big corporations went in and bought these properties, pennies on the dollar. We've heard using taxpayer money. The government was in cahoots with these buffoons, that cause suffering. And now, for me to even get a mortgage, I have to make twice what I am now. I'm in Washington State, so I know it's higher than a lot of places, but I'm not going to raise my children in the ghetto of Cleveland or Milwaukee or one of these places, where you can, you're getting shot at every day. It's nonsense. It's not funny, I know, but I laugh because, you have to laugh to keep from crying, brothers and sisters, in this crazy world we live in. So we'll see what happens over the next couple days. Stay in the faith, stay in the peace, whatever you're seeing out in this world, causing suffering. Don't let it distract you from, the peace that's within you. It's in your heart. The kingdom of heaven within is your still center, the still white magnetic light at the center of all things. So we know we're right on the precipice of this great shift, this great awakening. Now physically, all these things that we talk about with the quantum financial system, MedBed, is to help raise the spirit of humanity so we can trigger the event. The event is the full shift into 5D, heaven on earth. We call the new earth, our people are calling the new earth, which has been prophesied by every ancient culture, the Mayans, the eagle fly with the condor symbolize, relationships coming into harmony, equality. This is all beings are worthy. You are worthy. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all of you that have supported our channel. If you'd like to help us continue bringing these teachings and messages to the world, you can make a monthly pledge. We have a Patreon page, whitegoldeagle.com, or PayPal, eaglelovecondor.com. We have links to our PayPal and Stripe accounts. Share our videos with all your people. That helps us out too. But we're right on the precipice, so help buy us a little more time by pledging. I have a lot of teachings on Patreon from my years of teaching and training in the spiritual arts. I have Taoist, Qigong lessons. My queen and I, we put out guided meditations. There's many guided meditations on our Patreon. If you go to primedisclosure.com, you can look at all the teachings and trainings you get. healing arts, shamanism. I do ceremony too, shamanic ceremonies. Trained with several shamans over the years. In the medicine way, the Red Road, through our Native American people, our Mongolian shaman. I train with the Gold Dragon Masters, also Mongolian shaman. And now he goes by Mujin Roshi. Roshi is Zen master. So we bring all religions together, all teachings, all traditions, all nations, saying there's beauty in all cultures. You see, no culture is perfect, no country. The problem is, we look at these wars. A great general once said, there's no winner of any war. There's only survivors. And most of the people in these countries that are under tyrannical control, they're victims. They're innocent. They just want to feed their families, live their lives. But they're suffering greatly. You look at Israel versus Palestine versus Gaza. Muslim versus Jewish, Christian versus Muslim. We talk about this. Most of these people are good people, but they have these tyrants, that cause these wars and violence. And it's not the fault of the people. It's not the fault of the Palestinian people or our Israeli people, our Muslims, our Jewish peoples. You see, these are all our people. We have angels in every culture, every nation. Here we're here to resolve the separation programming and these lies, like different races. There's one race on the whole planet. It's a human race. You're not a different race because your skin hue is a different color. That was a lie. The person, it was a French scientist that came up with categorizing people not by their race. It evolved into there's different races because you have dark skin. You have light skin, you're blah, blah, blah. If you look up the original meaning of Caucasian, it was every color of skin. And you lived in this region, which is basically Europe and the Middle East, called the Caucasus. That's where Caucasian came from. Now you still see a little remnant of the Caucasus Mountains in that little region there that's in that Middle Eastern European region. And just like Mongolia, it was, Russia, China, India, half of this, Asia and the Middle East, this massive empire. Now you see this little country left of Mongolia, because things change over time. Then Africa was the Congo at one time. That's why they say Congoid, and a lot of dark skin, but the Congo, all different colors, live in Africa now, maybe at that time. So like Mongolia, it was like that Asian, the Asian, like they say something like 80% of all Asians have some kind of ancestry to Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan, because they killed off a lot of their people that they're enemies or whatever they call, and then Genghis Khan had something like 2,000 children, and those went out and had children, and over time, it's crazy. The world's crazy, history's crazy, but we're here to resolve all that. And our people, our earth angels, our star seeds are resolving the interference patterns of these false technologies and energies that are laid over our 5D, because Gaia has risen. She is rising. We're all rising together. Mother Earth is, Mothership 33 of our Universal Alliance of Light. So part of the shift is reuniting with our star nations, but they can meet us halfway, because they're higher vibratory rate, the 5D, so we're raising. So that's why, the reunion is when we can come together globally. I know, disclosure has been happening for hundreds of years. Many of our people have been on ships. I've been on ships etherically. Many of our people have been on the New Jerusalem, which is Sananda's ship, but they're doing this etherically. Some physically, they can the Gold Dragon Master can call on any ship, and he's been on many ships. The Andromedans and the Pleiadians, they're all here with us now. They're just at a different frequency, bandwidth than, the human that's still, in the third, fourth density, and five coming in. That's why we're getting the visuals we're seeing, we're experiencing these higher dimensional beings, extraterrestrial, goes by many names, Galactic Federation of Light. I know many of these terms and many of these things have been hijacked by nefarious beings. So a lot of the fear mongering that this is evil, that's bad, it's just to keep people in that fear energy that feeds the archons. That's why we laugh. We laugh, to starve the archons. They hate laughter. The reptilians, the nefarious reptilians. Again, not all reptilians are bad. We like our reptiles, our snakes, our serpents, our dragons, but all good things have been twisted and warped and flipped upside down, just like the all-seeing eye, the third eye, the sky eye, used by the Illuminati and these nefarious organizations to keep people dumbed down, for one thing, just like the race thing, to keep people separate. You're bad, we don't like you because of the color of your skin. All these things, that keep people in separation programming, which are all lies and nonsense. Again, the races, was the Caucasian, they say the light skin, but no, it originally meant every color of skin. And the Mongoloid, oid means resemble something. You can Google anything I'm talking about if you want to really dive deep into these concepts. The Mongolian, the Mongoloid, the Congoid means you resemble someone that lives in the Congo. Caucasoid, where all these things, Caucasian, all these things came out of that. These categorizations, humans like to put things in boxes and label them. So, but what it does in time, they take over on their own. They get their own momentum and turn into these crazy concepts and crazy ideologies and fundamentalism. Nothing worse than a fundamentalist. There's nothing wrong with fundamentals. There's the fundamentals of science, of religion, all these things. But, someone that's a fundamentalist that thinks I am right, everyone else is wrong, like my religion. If you don't believe what I believe, you're going to hell. More nonsense, more ignorance, more stupidity. And that's what's wrong with this world. It's not these hidden, monsters and demons and entities. It's ignorance. Ignorance is the problem with all things. When someone's living in ignorance, unknowing, then they do heinous acts and cause problems. These things. So we're here to resolve with knowledge. Knowledge helps, knowledge and truth helps resolve all ignorant programming, especially the separation programming, separating the religion, separating people by the color of their skin, by the nations. It's my nation's better than your nation, all these things. It's stupid. It's stupidity. It's beyond ignorance. It's total stupidity. We're all human beings we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we came into this world to make the world a better place, to live from our heart, to be compassionate like the Buddha, to walk like the Christos, like Jesus Christos, our divine master of the Christian lineage. And yes, the original name, Jesus, the I was converted to a J about 400 years ago by the Jesuits. Why did they do that? Why did they convert a vowel to a consonant? It takes the power away from the word. It lowers the frequency, the vibration, to keep people in ignorance. So Jesus, that's the proper way, the proper way to manifest the master teachings, the master teachers, of all lineages. The Lao Tzu, Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching, great sage, teaching people the way to live in harmony with nature, to live in harmony with each other, to live in harmony with yourself. That is most important, because if you can't find peace within, you'll never find it out in the world. We must seek the kingdom of heaven within and then manifest it externally. You find peace within, you'll find your divine counterpart. You find divinity within, the love, the joy, the blessings of being here now, the blessings of our breath. The breath is life. We only have so many breaths to be in this body, in this sacred vessel of light. It's not living in sin. Sin is the concept of separation, which is a false projection. See, all things are imitating. We live in a world of imagination and imitation. Everything is imitating stillness. See, this is what Dr. Walter Russell would teach. The true source, is the still white magnetic light at the center of all things. And we're all imitating that stillness. Everything is in constant motion in the universe, but it appears to be still, like this wall. But the atoms that make up that wall are constantly moving and changing, vibrating, but it's at such a low frequency resonance you can't see it with your eye. So just like it looks like a tree standing still, slowly moving. We can sit still in our meditations, but our heart's beating, our breath is moving, our body's expanding and compressing, our body's creating cells. There's a constant battle going on within our body, body creating T cells, killer T cells, attacking cancer cells, attacking viruses, bacterias, fighting. It's like one scientist said, if you could see what was going on in your body any moment, it's like World War III, and every atom is vibrating at the frequency of this black hole and this singularity at the center. The center of you is infinite density. This is heaven, is the still center. It's the power of silence, the power of stillness. So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for all your support. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have a most beautiful, blessed day. Namaste.